This is our last problem. So our very first thing that we're going to do is find the missing amounts in this table. So I rewrote everything on a separate piece of paper, so let's look at that. So in order to find sales revenue, we would actually just add together net operating income, fixed costs, and variable costs. So the two answers for that, so Paul needed us to do that, and then also Michaela. So if we add those three together, we get 113,000. So those are our new numbers up there. So knowing that we backed into that to get sales revenue, we can use sales revenue and subtract variable costs and fixed costs to get our NOI. And so if we do that, we get 6,000 here. So Raypian has 6,000 and Rojas has 16,000. Okay, so that's the very first part. So we filled everything in. So now what we want to do is calculate the margin. So first thing we want to do is figure out that formula. So the margin formula is net operating income over sales. So using this table above, we can plug in this information. So Paul's sales were 106,000 and his NOI was 30,000. And then we can just go and plug all of this information in. So check with me in a minute to see if you got the same thing that I did. So as I said before, we're just getting this information from our table up here. So we would just divide these over each other. And so I get 28.3%, 8.5%, 37.2%, and 27.6%. So not too bad on that one. So we just have another ratio to calculate, and that's turnover. So turnover's formula is sales over average operating assets. Okay, so for sales, we can just pull this number down from margin because that's the same number. We'll just put it on the top of this equation. So I'm going to pull all those down first, and then we can go find our average operating assets. So maybe I'm going to draw a little line here just so we know that that's our table. So you can see in our table here that our average operating assets were 130,000. I'm just going to carry this across. So just check with me once you're done filling in all of those numbers. Ooh, sorry about that. Okay, so now we want to just do that same thing. We want to divide. So the numbers I get are 0.815, 0.473, 0.942, and 0.43. Probably want to round to 3 or 4 decimal places. If you need to round, like this was probably 0.4300 or 4299, and so it was kind of hard to round. So if you're rounding to 4 is probably a good general rule of thumb. Okay, so now the fourth part asks us to determine ROI. So ROI's formula is net operating income over average operating assets. So again, it's kind of nice. We can just pull these numbers down here. So it's just kind of just for ease, so we don't have to keep pulling the paper up to the top to see what we're trying to find. So I'm filling in all of those numbers. Okay, and then now we want to determine what NOI is. So you guys can't see it, but I can. So my NOI are these numbers right here. So 30,000, 6,000, 42,000, and finally 16,000. Okay, so now same thing. I'm just going to divide. So dividing is 23.1%, 4%, 35%, and 11.9%. So then we get asked this question about the DuPont formula. It says, what is the DuPont formula and why is it useful to management? So the DuPont formula is margin times turnover. So those are two numbers that we found before. So we just multiply those numbers together. And the reason that the DuPont formula is so great is because it helps managers determine what's affecting ROI. So it kind of separates them so we can see, okay, well, our margin, we have a 28.3% margin and a 0.185 turnover. So you could probably determine from that what's performing better, where's our problem at, that kind of thing. Like for instance, this one here, our margin is very small, whereas our margin here is a lot bigger than, or this one's even a lot bigger. So it just depends. It just helps management determine what's going on within the return on investment. Okay, so the very last thing we want to do is calculate residual income. So the residual income formula is NOI, so net operating income, minus average operating assets times the minimum rate of return. Okay, and so the minimum rate of return is in our problem here, and it says Scrooge expects his subsidiaries to earn at least 12% return on the average investment. So that's that number I'm going to plug in for every single one of them. So I'm going to go through, I wrote down all of these people, and I'm just going to go through and write their NOIs in. So 30,000, let's see, we have 6,000, 42,000, and then 16,000. And then I'm going to subtract their operating assets. So that for me would be 130, 150, 120, and 135,000. Make sure I did that right. Okay, then we're going to multiply that by the 12%. So I'm just putting 12% right here. Okay, so then the answers that I get to that are 14,400, a negative 12,000 for Ripens. That's not good. And then 27,600, and then a negative 200. So looks like these companies aren't performing too well. Oh, sorry, that bottom of the page. So it tells us that Scrooge will give his employees a bonus if the residual income is greater than 30,000. So let's look through and see if any of these are greater than 30,000. 14,400, is that greater than 30,000? It is not greater than 30,000. So they will not receive a bonus. So I'm going to put no bonus. Here, this is definitely not greater than 30,000, so no bonus. So it is less than 30,000. And this is also less than 30,000, so no bonus. Again, and then this is also less than 30,000, so no bonus. No bonuses for anyone. Okay, so that's that entire problem. Hopefully that was helpful. And the entire exam is posted. The practice exam and my review of it. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can email me. I guess I'll write my email down here. So my email is katierobinson664@boisestate.edu. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. You're more than welcome to comment on the YouTube channel, and I'll try and keep tabs of that. I hope you have a great time studying for the test and a great weekend, and that you do well in the exam.